Okay, so our presentation is on developmentally delayed. So what is a developmental delay? It means a child is between the ages of 3 through 9. They're experiencing developmental delays as defined by the state and as measured by diagnostic instruments and procedures in one or more of the following areas, such as physical development, cognitive development, communication development, social or emotional development, or adaptive development, and who by reason needs related services. Developmental disabilities are a group of conditions due to an impairment, such as physical, learning, language, or behavior areas. These conditions begin during the developmental period. They may impact day-to-day functioning and usually last throughout a person's lifetime.
Okay, so developmental milestones is when you first start seeing possibilities of a developmental delay. These skills are such as smiling, waving, crawling, and walking. These milestones are generalized age categories. As a parent, your child's primary doctor, with your child's primary doctor, you watch these progress in general ranges. If they're not meeting those milestones, they can be cues, which leads to your physician watching more closely. The type of disorders that are considered developmental delays are attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, autism, cerebral palsy, fetal alcohol spectrum disorders, Fragile X syndrome, hearing loss, intellectual disabilities, Kinturus, language and speech disorders, learning disorders, muscular dystrophy, Tourette syndrome, or vision impairments.
Okay, so some trends in the prevalence of developmental disabilities. There was a study done by the CDC and the HRSA from 1997 to 2008 for about 12 years that determined the prevalence of developmental disabilities in select populations. The study showed that about 1 in 6 children were found to have a developmental disability in 2006 to 2008. It showed that the prevalence of parent-reported developmental disabilities has increased 17.1% in that range of the years that they were studying, the 12 years. During the study, the parents or legal guardians were asked if their child had any known developmental disability. The study underscores the increasing need for health, education, and social services and more specialized health services for people with developmental disabilities because it's crucial to identify those early so the children and their families can get the help that they need.
So some organizations are, the first one is the National Association of Councils on Developmental Disabilities, for short it's NACDD, is the National Association for 56 Councils of Developmental Disabilities across the United States and its territories. The DD councils receive federal funding to support programs that promote self-determination, integration, and inclusion for all people in the United States with developmental disabilities. Another association I found was the National Association of State Directors of Developmental Disabilities Services. The NASDDDS mission is to assist member state agencies in building person-centered systems of services and for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities and their families. It's a National Center of Disability and Journalism is another association, and this is a site that leads to a ton of different organizations that can help those with developmental delays with things from getting employment to getting involved in programs that will help them develop a little easier.
So this is kind of like the scholarly approach. So we read a lot of different journals and like research that scientists have done, and there's been a large address and things of that sort. And they found that sometimes in little children, they do have some sort of a learning disability, but they grow out of it. They may not pay attention or like sort of, but that's okay. They'll grow out of it. But then there's other ones that the students will actually have for the rest of their lives, which is like dyslexia or being blind, deaf, all those things. So what the research has found adapt to it from there.
In one of the articles that we read, it talked about how children or parents like to put their children in school later because of their developmental delay. And there was a study done on it that these children actually didn't do any better than they would have if they were put when they should have started at the traditional age, and how actually they found that those who did start later than what they were supposed to, even though they were developmentally delayed, they were behind than those who did start.
And that's our presentation on developmental delays.